By having honest processes in place, having checks and balances. And the biggest thing is you can't teach ethics, you can't legislate, you can't teach morality. You either are or you are not. I don't think you can train people on compliance, as we were just talking about a moment ago. You can train them on the right way and the wrong way to do things from a compliance standpoint. But I just don't think that you can train someone to be a good person.
Hello, I'm Jim Ganther, President of Mosaic Compliance Services. And with me today in our Tampa studios is Mad Marv, Marvin Eleazar, the F&I Director of Langdale Ford in Valdosta, Georgia. Mad Marv is here today, obviously on vacation, and he has deigned to join us here for a brief interview. Marv, would you tell us a little bit about Langdale Ford and your role there?
Langdale Ford has been in business since the early 60s, single point Ford dealer. And they were family owned up until last December, bought out by a company called the Bowers Automotive Group up in Chattanooga, Tennessee. And really serious about customer service, great customer retention in a 90% range, and just a great place to work. My job there is the lead F&I manager, F&I director that some people might refer to it as. And it's a great rewarding career. I've been there since 1999.
Langdale Ford, you said, had a 90% customer retention rate. Is that normal in the retail automotive?
No, not really. And I'm basing that mostly off of Ford's analogy and their numbers, and that's mostly new car retention rates. But it's not normal. And I think a lot of that has to do with the culture that we have at the store, which is very, very customer-oriented and customer-friendly.
You said you've been there for a very long time. How long have you been in the F&I role?
F&I, the last 29 years.
Have you seen any changes in the F&I function in those nearly 30 years?
Yes, back in the day when I first started in it, no one knew how to spell the word compliance, and no one ever spoke of it, and everything was done really underhandedly, the way we were taught. I mean, even as late as the early 90s, F&I trainers from some of the big companies like GMAC and what have you were still teaching payment packing and things of that sort.
Compliance ethics is a hot button topic these days.
Yes, it is.
In fact, very recently we saw news coming out of the Texas area about a dealership that had been caught literally falsifying proof of income.
Right.
Now, from my legal training, I would say that's a deceptive trade practice.
It is.
It's mail fraud, it's wire fraud.
Yeah, the list is long.
And it actually makes the dealership fit the definition of organized crime.
You could say that.
How do you avoid things like that at Langdale Ford?
By having honest processes in place, having checks and balances. And the biggest thing is you can't teach ethics, you can't legislate, you can't teach morality. You either are or you are not. And that is something that you have to hire well, and that starts at the top at the dealer level. If you're an unethical dealer, an immoral dealer, and I hate to use that word, then chances are of you having a large group of people working for you that are ethical is going to be pretty slim.
I would agree with you. So, can you train ethics? Can you teach ethics, or do you just have to hire ethical people?
I don't believe it. I don't think you can. You can train people on compliance, as we were just talking about a moment ago. You can train them on the right way and the wrong way to do things from a compliance standpoint. But I just don't think that you can train someone to be a good person.
Do you ever do deal jacket audits to make sure you and your colleagues at Langdale Ford are doing things the right way?
Yes, we have a checklist that starts at the salesperson's level and things that they're responsible for on that checklist when that deal is turned into the finance office. And then there's also a set of things that a respective manager has to check off. And then the F&I person has to check off additional ones. And then it goes over to accounting, and then the accounting office has to check off on certain things. And if it's not in the deal jacket, you're getting a quick phone call, hey, so-and-so's missing, we don't have book out. So we do sign book out sheets on our used cars. Mm-hmm. That's not a requirement anywhere as far as the law is concerned. But we have a sign check, a deal book out sheet on every used car that's turned in with every deal. Well, I say on the finance part of it.
Do you have any third-party audits of what you do so that you're not auditing your own deals?
Yes, our company employs an outside third-party company that does deal audits.
How often do they do that?
Every quarter right now.
And do they just do a sample of each F&I manager's deal?
Right. They'll go in and pull like an entire month, maybe one particular month, and they'll just pull out and just start going over it. And then when that audit is, of course, they do more than that. They also audit the buyer's guides and the windows of the used cars to make sure they're properly fixed. So they're not only auditing the F&I department, they're auditing other aspects of the business. And so that's how it kind of keeps us on track. And sometimes, we realize, gee whiz, I forgot about that thing,
So you think about this a lot, and you write about the F&I function a lot. Are you optimistic for how your particular sub-industry is trending? Are we getting better? Are we getting worse? Or are we just treading water?
I have for so long believed that the minority of dealers, and I still want to believe that, are in the class category we were talking about, this dealership out in Texas. And I really am optimistic, else I wouldn't be so passionate about it, that the F&I industry is getting better. There's so many checks and balances out there, so many great companies like yourself that are out there helping dealers. And I don't think, when speaking of cutting corners with F&I managers, I do underscore this, I don't believe that a lot of F&I managers go about their day trying to scheme and come up with ways to do it the wrong way. I think oftentimes F&I managers, and I've experienced this myself, we get into a rush. We're pressured. We got 3 deals behind us. We just finished a couple. It's a Saturday afternoon, and you got 3 or 4 screaming kids, and you got the sales manager walking in there on you. Man, are you ready? Man, I got this customer out here. Salesperson the same way. And I think oftentimes it's because that we get too much rush and we forget to get something signed. And then the customer lives 100 miles away.
And what do you do when you're missing that one signature?
I'm going to tell you, the greatest temptation in the world is just to scribble their name down to it, but that is the worst thing you can do.
Marv, is it possible to do well by doing good?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Honesty is the best strategy we will ever have.
I like that. Let's end there. Thank you so much for joining us here in Tampa.
My pleasure.
Bye-bye.